Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, from wherever you're joining me, from wherever part of the world you're joining me. Welcome to this presentation. I'm going to present about digital, the current, the future governance imperatives. My name, just a brief introduction about myself. My name is Tichaona Zororo. I'm a director with EGIT, Enterprise Governance of IT, looking after digital and digital transformation advisory. I'm CSAM, CMI, CRMA, C-Risk, and all the other things that you can see on the screen. I'm an accredited COVID speaker, trainer, and all the other details. I love digital transformation. I live digital transformation. That's a little bit, introduction about myself. I live digital. I like digital transformation. We are living in a world today that is obviously have changed and shifted very well. The last 6 months to 10 months actually now, here in South Africa, we had the lockdown coming effectively on 27 March. And for us now, it's roughly about 6 months exactly, where we have been living in a total lockdown, and we are living in a new world, the new normal. Things have changed. The things that we know in the old arena as we used to know them, they've really shifted and they've really changed. Whilst numerous organizations have suffered due to the pandemic, the unprecedented COVID-19, at the same time, other organizations have also unprecedentedly gained new levels of wealth. The big tech, the big five, Facebook, Amazon, etc., they have really upped their game. They've doubled their wealth, some have doubled their worth. Their shares have gone to levels that they've never seen before. They've skyrocketed. Why? They were prepared to operate in a new normal, the digital environment. A few days ago, early in the month of November, we saw Alibaba selling in a single day 74 billion cells, a record 74 billion cells. Now that's really new levels. We have seen in the past months everything going from human contact to becoming digital. Digital is no longer just the future, it's the current. We are living in a digital world. It has taken quite a lot for many organizations to transform in the digital world. A lot of advocates have advised numerous companies on working from home, online education, going completely digital. But yes, some has taken the hit, but some were slow. But the pandemic has forced everyone, almost everyone, to go digital. What we have thought would take years only took a few months due to the pandemic. Yes, it has had its huge negatives on the global economy. It has costed lives, but the digital transformation hopefully have been accelerated due to COVID-19 or the pandemic. Most organizations have gone digital. The digital has disrupted the way organizations operate. It has disrupted what we used to call the norm. Now, in that disruption, for those companies or organizations and enterprises that have lost, those that have gained, it is also important to ensure effective governance of digital. An effective and efficient governance system over digital is the starting point for enterprise value creation. Organizations still need to create value, even in this world of the pandemic. Right. Now, when you talk of enterprise governance of digital, it is important for board of directors, for senior executives to provide digital vision, to ensure that organizations have got these digital capabilities to sustain them in today's world and the future world. Without a digital vision, it's going to be very difficult for any organization to survive. Digital governance requires that organizations put funding for digital, put aside budgets for digital. In my experience, where I've gone in most organizations, very few organizations have well funding their digital. Some, they don't even have strategy. Some, they don't even have a digital vision. Where there is a digital strategy, where there's a digital vision, it's not supported by the right funding. So clearly it is important for organizations in today's world and in the next normal to ensure that they've got sufficient funding for digital. They are upskilling, they have the right strategy that is dynamic and that is continuously changing to meet enterprise needs and objectives. There is need for digital leadership. There is need to establish digital culture, new culture. I'll share more details about a digital culture. So when you talk of digital, it's all about business, aligning our strategy to the business, aligning our digital strategy to the business strategy. Digital governance, it's about value creation, creating new operating models. What we have seen in the last 6 months or so is total disruption of core businesses, total destruction of core operations, which calls upon each business leader, director, board member to ensure that enterprises of today adopt to new business models because the core as we know it have been disrupted. We need to streamline processes. We need to create ecosystems and create sustainable competitive advantage using digital. It's not about digital, it's about business, creating new ways of doing business. But where there is digital governance, digital does not end up going in every direction, but digital creates business value. Earlier on, I spoke about the disruption of core businesses. I am a board member. I serve on a number of organizations. I'm an advisor to numerous board of directors across the globe and mostly here in South Africa. One organization that I serve, they are a garden, recreational garden organizations. And what we have seen during the pandemic is that gardens were completely closed. And of course, what that meant is that total loss of income to that gardens organizations. And as board members, we started thinking about moving away from creating income using physical visits, but creating that income through virtual gardens visits. What that meant is that as a board of directors, we did provide a digital direction and support that with the right funding and obviously reskill the employees so that they're able to move from physical gardens to virtual gardens. We also need to understand the customer requirements, the expectations of a virtual garden. And most importantly, we need to fund this move away from physical visit to gardens to virtual gardens. One important thing to think about also is how our new gardens are going to look in order to support this new way of doing things, from physical visits of gardens to virtual visits of gardens. What kind of garden do we want? How should the garden look in order to fit a virtual garden? So we have seen in the last months digital becoming the normal, but in that normal, imperative for governance of digital transformation. Now, today more than ever, it's also important to support the future digital environment as well. I'll come into those details. Virgin Active, it's one company that is so its core business being virtually disrupted over in the new normal. And moving to the next normal, they need to change their operating model. So if you look at Virgin Active, it's a health gymnastic company, gym company, physical company, mostly relying on people going to the gym. What they have seen for about 3 months, from March to March, April, May, June to about July, South Africa was virtually closed. No one was going to the gym. So they lost total revenue of close to 228 million. They lost that revenue because they've got about 760,000 members. And that revenue was closed for a minimum of 5 months. So if you calculate 228 million, 230 million multiplied by 5, they lost closely to $1 billion plus, almost 1.5 billion revenue lost. They've also retrenched, and they were left with no option to change their operating model. So we have seen that in the pandemic, because of the digital, the new world, the pandemic, and other forces that have forced every organization to go digital, that digital is the only way going forward. They say innovate or die. It's no longer just a saying. Go digital or die. And as such, it is very important to change our core model of business. Virgin Active had to change its core model of being physically in the gym to creating digital gyms. And over the period of 5 months, they have registered 400,000 members. And because they've gone from the core business that has been disrupted and created a new digital model of doing business, they have now started to earn some income, albeit way below the income that they were earning. So they've earned about 120, they've started to earn about 120 million over per month. So that's quite kind of some income, but way below what they used to get. Now, if that is the case, the question we need to ask ourselves, post-pandemic, in the next normal, do they see the physical 760,000 members fully going back to the physical gym? The answer to that is no. So what do they need to start to think now? They need to start to say, what is the digital strategy? What is the digital vision? And how is that going to be the new core? And if that is going to be the new core, they need to have the right culture, the right digital culture, and all that. I'll share the details later. We in South Africa here, we have a company, a new bank And this bank here, they call themselves the first digital-only bank in South Africa. Now, this bank has disrupted completely the banking environment in South Africa. Traditionally, there are 4 big banks in South Africa: Standard Bank, First National Bank, ABSA, and Nedbank. Over the last 2 years, these banks have been digitally disrupted. They were relying on core, legal system, physical banking, and all that. This bank has only been in existence for just under 2 years now. And within the 2 years that they've been in existence, they have accumulated 2 million active clients, active accounts. And during the pandemic, they added close to a million active accounts, completely disrupting the traditional banks as we know them. And whilst it is a bit too late for these other big 4 banks, but they've started to go digital. Now, it is critical that these traditional banks create a core business, a core mandate, a new core business that is digitally driven, or else they're gonna lose their business. So what we have started to see with this bank, there are new roles: chief digital strategist, chief digital transformation officer, chief data scientist. So the digital direction and digital governance demands that organizations adopt and adapt to new roles that were never there. New roles such as chief data scientist, chief IT and digital transformation, information and technology, digital strategy roles, and the board needs to start to up its game on digital, having new digital presentation. This bank here, Discovery Bank, they call themselves the world's first behavioral bank. It's entirely driven by digital. It's the more you go to the gym, the more health you stay, the more health food you eat. They have apps that link to their banking, and if you are eating more healthy, going to the gym more often, you earn more points, and these points they'll add to your to your banking scoring. The more you go to the gym, the less bank charges you pay, and they've created an ecosystem. So organizations in the next normal would need to start probably to move away from being a product-focused organization to being a more ecosystem, or creating platforms that will enable them to kind of like have customers, provide customers services in an end-to basis, creating an ecosystem and creating platforms rather than being product-centric. So what you see with the Discovery, they've created an ecosystem, and within the ecosystem, they are providing platforms that organizations, that their customers are starting to use. Thereby, they are creating what we call the networking effects. Because of the networking effect, they are continuing to grow their customer base and even getting customers from the traditional banks. So the traditional banks, if they don't do anything digital, they have already started to suffer. And all indications are that in the next normal, there's need for increased digital governance. So what are these next normals that we're talking about? I'll give a brief example of Deutsche Telekom, which is a company that is engaged on a digital transformation that they codenamed IT at Motion. So it is very important, once you have engaged on a once you have engaged on a digital journey, maybe you can code name it. So Deutsche Telekom has got over 10,000 employees in its IT department. And in 2017, they engaged on a digital transformation journey, which they codenamed IT at Motion. And I've been doing a lot of research about IT at Motion, and there are some digital imperatives that in the next normal, most organizations can use to survive the next normal. Let's look at that. In the next normal, as we look into it, and in the current normal, part of the key governance imperatives is to look at new, fresh skills and creating an environment that attract new digital skills. It's no doubt that cloud, artificial intelligence, IoT, DevOps, machine learning, and robotics are the new oil of the next normal. And to survive in this next normal, you definitely require fresh skills focused on cloud computing. I often speak to a number of organizations, and they tell me that our strategy is to go digital, our strategy is to go cloud, artificial intelligence, and I ask them one question: do you have the skills? What are you doing to attract the right skills, to refresh your skills, and to train the right skills? No doubt about it that the next normal is going to be driven at board level. And that's why numerous boards, you need a board of directors that is digitally savvy. What most organizations are doing, they're also bringing on board members that are digitally savvy. And if the board is not digitally savvy, periodically, numerous boards have now started to do board training on digital, board training on changing core business models, creating digital talent, creating a digital environment. Definitely change of culture is important. We are now talking about agile digital transformation. We are now talking about cross functions and leaner organizations that encourage digital. I'll talk about this when I talk about digital culture. So it's important that as we go into the current, that as we are in the current digital and the next normal, that you need to have fresh skills and to have board of directors that are digitally savvy, that create a digital culture organization. Promote diversity, but I'll share this more in the next normal when I talk about, in the next slide when I talk about digital culture. Digital culture is an imperative. As we go in the current normal, as we are in the current normal and in the next normal, it's important to change our culture. They say culture eats strategy. Where there is no right digital culture, you cannot proceed. So you need a change of culture, a change of mindset. You need to rethink the core. I said earlier on, to rethink our skills, to rethink our approaches, develop a digital strategy, develop a digital vision. This all is anchored on creating the right digital culture. Encourage cross-functional organizational skills, collaboration, encourage free collaboration, encourage good contribution from a number of organizations. We need to start to talk about interpersonal trust, having timely feedback, continuous communication, good communication that encourages participation from everyone. It's about continuous learning and embracing change. You also need to modernize our architecture, retire a legal system that hinder us to digitally transform. You cannot transform beyond the architecture that you have. So you need the right architecture that is modernized, and that you need not to big bang approach probably may not work. Break into small pieces and quick wins, and then low-hanging fruit, identify low-hanging fruit, achieve the low-hanging fruit, and proceed on. Okay, so you probably One thing to look at as well is you need to streamline your processes. I always say that, digital is not panacea to broken processes. So as we go into the next normal, we need to streamline our processes. We need to re-engineer our processes, make sure that we've got the right processes that are customer-centric, that are streamlined, and in order to provide efficiency and effectiveness and focus on the customers, also create new competitive advantages. It goes without saying that the next normal and the current normal really has to be security by design. As we start, just like a digital transformation by design as well. One of the things I always get asked in board meetings is to say, how do you come up with a digital strategy? I always say, on any business strategy that you think about, you need to start to think and say, but how can we digitize this strategy? I call that digital by design. So it's also about security by design as well. So that's it. That's my presentation. And there's one organization here that I want to share lastly, due to time, NHS, that have gone. It's a good case start if you want. NS Digital, they've got a digital board, NHS Digital Board. They've got NHS funding. They're creating new roles. They are relying more on data, taking into account the regulatory legal requirements of data privacy. So I'll just play this video. It's just 1 minute, 15 minutes, and you can see it.
At NHS Digital, our job is to use technology and data to help improve health and social care services. Data connects everyone and everything in the NHS. Thousands of staff rely on our network every day, sending up to 2,000 messages per second, sharing expertise, vital information, and ensuring resources are available where patients need them. Intelligent data also drives the tools we create to help people take more control of their healthcare. Most GP surgeries now offer access to Patient Online, for example. This service allows patients to see their records, order repeat prescriptions, and book appointments. They can also access our e-referral service from home, allowing them to choose where and when they see a specialist and book an appointment to suit them. This intelligent use of data and technology halves the number of missed appointments. Our electronic prescription service carries patients' prescription data quickly and securely to their choice of pharmacy. Over 1 million items a day are now handled this way, saving the NHS £230 million a year. The data we manage also creates insights and information that drive innovation and inform vital decision-making. Better data means resources can be planned and prioritised more effectively. It also makes more information available to researchers working on new treatments and technologies. Secure infrastructure, hard-working data, and effective collaboration mean we can make a real difference to people's lives. By harnessing data, information, and technology, NHS Digital are helping to create better, faster, and more effective health and social care services for everyone.
Indeed. So very important, I think one key takeaway from here is that data governance is becoming, it has been said over and over that data is the new 21st century oil. Yes, indeed, data and digital governance are the new oil of the 21st century. And the right governance is critical to create value from digital and data. I'll just leave you with a few questions. I think about 5 questions that I need you to answer. Number 1, does your organization have a formal digital transformation vision or strategy? Is this vision communicated to everyone? So you can answer yes or no. It would be nice to see the results. Does your organization have a formal digital transformation vision or strategy? Is this communicated? Do you know about it? Does everyone know about that digital vision or digital strategy? Is your organization digital transformation sufficiently funded? That strategy. Is your organization digital transformation strategy sufficiently funded? What percentage is it to the budget? 10%, 5%? I usually encourage 10% of the overall budget should be towards digital. But I think with the next normal, where digital is becoming the core of the business, I think this 10% figure should actually go to be beyond 10%. Moving next, is digital transformation your board of directors agenda item? Does your board of directors discuss digital? Do you have the right committees on digital representing the board? For example, do you have a digital technology governance committee in your organization and all that? Yes, does your organization have a chief digital officer or a chief digital transformation committee? Last but not least, I know that this presentation, most of the people that may be listening to this are IT auditors, cybersecurity experts, risk assessment experts, practitioners, board members, but mostly this is directed to IT auditors, risk experts, IT governance practitioners. Have you performed a risk assessment and audited your digital transformation initiatives? In conclusion, what did we say? Deliberately budget for and fund innovation for digital. Modernize your technology. You cannot innovate beyond the technology that you have. Make digital and innovation a strategic issue. It is a business issue. It is a business issue. Make digital and innovation a board agenda. Make cybersecurity a constant board audit, technology and risk committee agenda item. The audit committee must discuss digital. They must discuss the risks that are posed to the organization if you go digital and if you don't go digital. That is, if you have that option. Have modernization, digital innovation, and cybersecurity expertise on your board, your audit and risk or innovation committee. Define and establish modernization, digital innovation, and cybersecurity roadmap. Do not only discuss innovation, constantly monitor and evaluate tangible cybersecurity and innovation action. Develop innovation and digital skills. Reskill, reskill, reskill. Make the role of the CIO and CISO executive roles reporting directly to the CEO and attending board meetings. Uplift the skill of the chief innovation officer or the chief information officer. Make digital and innovation a responsibility of business owners. Transformation digital is a business agenda. It is not a technology agenda. It's about the business. If innovation and digital transformation are not on the board of directors' agenda, you have a wrong agenda. You need to rethink before you disappear. How many board members do you have that are digitally competent? How many audit committee members do you have that understand digital? The board of directors and business executives should be at the center of digital transformation, modernization, and innovation. Thank you.